Hey folks, I got my trailer back in here in the shop. We've got some metal laid out on it. Kids were working on it yesterday, and we had a guy bring us a motor home, and sitting in the motor home is a battery. Now, it's been in there for a long time, but still had all its acid in it, and the gravity was just off a little bit. So it's kind of odd and it don't have no obvious shorting when you look down inside each one of the cells. So it's just maybe just neglected. Well, we've been charging it now for 5.5 hours and it's showing 47%. Charger's putting out basically 15 volts, like one should do. That's a 14-year-old battery. It's quite old, but what we're going to do is we're going to do the restoration using Epsom salt. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate. Key that word there. Now, for this battery, this size, this is a 31 series battery or 31 size. I'm going to use about a good tablespoon and a half. And then I'm going to put some distilled water in here, enough to do each one of these twice. So you're seeing this in the cup here, and we're going to put some distilled water in it and heat it up in the microwave for about 30 seconds and make sure it's well mixed. And then I'm going to add 2 full of these little eyedroppers. You know, you get it for your kids stuff. 5 milliliters, so 10 milliliters in each cell. And let's see if we can restore this thing, because right now it's just, the voltage is just pumping like hell, but it's not really getting any effect. So let's see what we're going to work with. Okay, so I took it off the charger, and here is its sort of resting voltage. Now, left overnight, it'll drop down to about 10 even. And you can see here that it's just fluctuating, and it will continue to drop down. Okay, so what we've got is we've got our mixture with our magnesium sulfate. That is what Epsom salt is, magnesium sulfate. And magnesium sulfate, what it'll do is it will knock off the sulfuric acid that cakes up like stuff on your plates. So your plates down in here, there is numerous plates that are down in here, and you can see inside of a battery. Just be careful doing it. And on those plates, there'll be a little bit of that sulfuric acid that'll solidify and get on there, caked up on them. And what this stuff does is it breaks it up. You put a heavy charge on this and it'll break it up. So we're just going to put 1 in each one of this Epsom salt, and then we're going to take it and split the rest of it. So basically 2 of these between every cell. Okay, I'll just take what I got left and just kind of divvy it up between the rest of them. Just kind of use your imagination on accuracy here. And if you have a cell that's a lot lower than the rest, feel free to go ahead and put a little extra in that one from this mixture after you've gotten 2 full ones in each battery. Okay, so now just tip this over and get the last bit out and look for a low cell, which in my case, this one right back here. A little extra in that one. Now, right now we're putting it on high charge, so we're going 15 amps into it, and then we're going to see if it responds. See, it dropped all the way down to 13% from 47%. It's not holding. Charge against it, 13.27, 14% now going in, 14% depth of discharge or remaining, and 15 amps going in. And I use this little automatic one because it's the best in my world. It puts out 15.7 volts at the full charge rate, which is what you need. In fact, you probably need about 18, but I'm going to try it with this one first. All right, so we're going to look at that. We'll come back and we'll see what our results are. Okay? That's voltage going into it. See how it's lifting it up high? Look at that. And that's the effect we want. So, seems like it's allowing a very high voltage. That's very good. All right, now we have gotten the battery completely charged up. I ended up putting this on a car starter one and hitting it with 200 amps for about 30 seconds to get it to bubble, because it simply wouldn't even bubble. And you look at this picture like I showed you in the beginning of the video, and you'll see this little battery off to that side of that motorhome. So you look right here. And this battery had been sitting in there for 7 or 8 years in complete nothingness, hooked up, and the motorhome had not been started forever and a day. So you can look over here and see it's a 2004 battery. They sold it to the guy in 2004, or they sold it to whoever had that motorhome in 2004 in February. So probably pretty obviously a battery that died in the wintertime. This one replaced it. So its manufacturer date is January of 04. Now, this battery over here is a Napa Power. I don't even know if they still make these. It is a battery that is a 2005 battery, and it has a September, I believe. Yes, September knockout on it for it being September 2005. So it's a little elderly also. Now this battery I brought in, and you've seen the steps I used on this battery. I did the same on this one. And it was literally at 6 volts, wouldn't hold nothing. And I had to shake it, put it on the vibration table, and put a little extra of the Epsom salt in it, using that process I just showed you. And now what we're going to do is I've got it all hooked up here, where you'll be able to watch the meter here. And I just took it off the charger about 10 minutes ago, and it has gone down from 13.6, where it topped out pretty much, 13.6, 13.8 area, normal. And now it's just floating back down. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick this on, and you'll see it's over here in the high charge red side. Don't worry, that's not a big deal. But we're going to hit it with 200 amp starter, or I believe this is a 500. It's 1,000, so it would be basically a 500 amp coil in here, or a carbon pile, I believed. I'm sure there's somebody out there that'll correct me and talk crazy, but I think that's 500 amps starting that it's going to hit it with. So if you have one of these, you know what they do. I don't use them very much, but here we go. So you want to watch that meter and this one at the same time here, okay? And we're going to give it the typical 5-second hit, like a starter on a car. All right, so it's dropping. Now look at that. That voltage is dropping. Boom. Now, this tells you that the battery has been recovered. You see this voltage going up? That's the telltale sign of a battery that has effectively recovered. So we'll sit there and watch it. Now, of course, without the car alternator charging it, I think I did it for almost 7 seconds, which is a little longer than I should have. But you know, if you're gonna restore a battery, you know, test them, make sure it's gonna handle it. So here it is, and it's coming up. See, that means it's recovered. Now there was a lot of gunk down here in the bottom of this cell right here, and a little bit in this cell right here. By putting that magnesium sulfate in there and shaking it just a little bit, and then hitting it with 200 amp charge and then 40 amp charge for 5 minutes to get it to bubble. You can see all the bubbles were coming up. Then I put it on this 15 amp to get that real high voltage, which is almost 17 volts that it put into it. 17 volts creates a lot of resistance going through there, so it caused them plates to really, really cook. And I cycled it about 5 times. First time it got up to 64%, second time 75%, third time 87%, and then finally it went to 100%. And now we're going to charge it again and maintain a charge on it for about 3 days with a 1.5 amp charger, and then this is ready to go in your car. So let me pause this so I can move all this gear over to this battery. I haven't even tested it yet. I haven't even tried it, and we'll try. And you can see now it's continuing to come up. battery, 14 years old, has been saved. So let's go to this one. All right, so now we're hooked up over here, and we're sitting at 12.86 volts, a little fluctuation. That's a full charge. In a regular car battery, 12.8, 12.85 is a beautiful charge. So now we're hooked up. It's a little precarious because we have our probes going in here to give us our voltage over here, which is in the 12.8687, and it's showing it just a beautiful, perfect charge. This battery is a 13-year-old battery, and it was left in a motor home that was abandoned out on my property about 4 years ago. And I've never went and got it, but I figured when I was doing this one, I'd do that one too. Came out of another old motor home. So it hasn't even been charged in 4 years. I haven't even paid it no mind. So because it's, I believe, a Johnson Controls battery, I don't really like them much. But, and I think this is so old, it's not Johnson Controls. I think this is actually Exide or something. But we're gonna hit this one the same way and see what we got here, okay? So we're gonna put a load on it, and you can see it's all hooked up here. We're gonna put a load on it and watch that voltage. 4, 5, 6, 7. I like to do a 7. All right, now what you're seeing it is you're seeing it recover. Now see, a bad battery would not recover like this. Already back up to 12.5. See that? That is a good battery. To be able to handle that, never go down and hit the weak zone, and then recover. So there we go, 13-year-old battery, DOA, dead on arrival. This one here, you seen that clip of where it was sitting in that motorhome that had been abandoned in a yard for years. There they go, working because of magnesium sulfate, okay? If you have any questions, ask me. If you're wanting to get one of these, look down at the bottom of my video. I'll show you a link to it. This is a very, very good battery tester, and hope this helps you guys out. Just save them. You can reuse them for many things. All right.